Yeah! Woo!
John.
Yeah, John! Woo!
Yeah, so we still have time for other people to speak as well. And there's also speech. There's also pizza on the way if you haven't heard.
Like your privacy!
Woo!
I apologize in advance for this probably coming off really corny, but I wrote it late last night, so.
It's okay.
All right,
We love you.
here we go.
Yeah!
Do it.
So, if you didn't know, today is the 237th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence and the creation of the United States of America,
Yeah!
the country that we live in.
Yeah! Woo!
Now, the Constitution wasn't enacted right away. There was another bill that was supposed to hold the states together. I can't remember what it was called. Something Confederate.
Articles of Confederation!
Okay, thanks, guys.
Not from the country.
Articles of
even
Confederation. Within about 10 years or so, though, we had the Constitution. So it's been roughly 224 years since the adoption of the Constitution, which turned out to be one of the most powerful and impactful documents ever written in the history of mankind. Somehow, since then, we've gone from a people that were willing to die for their right to the Fourth Amendment, which states the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. We've gone from that to a people whose government is secretly collecting millions of phone calls, emails, text messages, and internet history data without a warrant.
Boo!
Oh!
Now, in case you're unclear about what the NSA is doing, let's just go over it right now. The National Security Agency has been collecting the metadata of millions of Americans' phone calls since at least 2006. In fact, former NSA agent, whistleblower, and patriot Edward Snowden has estimated that the NSA collects 1 trillion metadata records and can obtain, store, and listen to 1 billion cell phone calls every single day.
Boo!
We also know that the NSA can directly tap into the servers of popular websites such as Google, Yahoo, Facebook, Apple, YouTube, and Skype. This allows the NSA to collect and sift through a vast majority of online activity, including emails, search history, photos, text messages, video conversations, file transfers, anything you can think of. What's worse, and most alarming, is that the NSA does this without the need of a warrant, thanks to the secretly operated Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court. Now, the NSA claims they are not purposefully targeting U.S. citizens, but they still store inadvertently intercepted data pertaining to U.S. citizens for at least 5 years, just in case. When further scrutinized, the collection of U.S. citizen data is not as inadvertent as it claims to be. First, the government can target foreigners on the other end of Americans' communications. Second, the government has set a dismally low bar for concluding that a potential target is indeed a foreigner. For example, by default, all targets are assumed to be foreign until otherwise stated. Louder?
That's bad.
Love it.
Louder.
No, it's loud right here.
Well, you're right next to it.
Second, the government has set a dismally low bar for concluding that a potential target is indeed foreign. What this means is that by default, all targets are assumed to be foreign, which basically means your data is assumed to be searchable until proven otherwise, which conveniently can only be proven upon searching.
Hey, wait a minute.
That doesn't make sense.
You're right.
Third, the procedures allow the NSA to collect not just the communications of a foreign target, but any communications about a foreign target, which is a nice little loophole. That means they're pretty much collecting your data. This is all thanks to Section 215 of the Patriot Act that basically says it can ignore the Constitution as long as it's for the purpose of protecting against international terrorism. Finally, as indicated by the sworn statement of former AT&T technician Mark Klein, the NSA has set up internet data collection centers in various major telecommunication company hubs. The NSA is literally drinking from a fire hydrant of internet data. Nearly all internet traffic in the U.S. is being intercepted, copied, and stored on files. How did we get here? How do we go from being a beacon of human rights and liberty to a country that spies on its own citizens? Most importantly, how are these streets not filled with people all screaming in protest over such an outrageous assault on our inalienable rights?
Yeah.
Amen.
Do we realize what we're giving up?
Oh yeah.
Do we understand what John Adams meant when he said, "But a constitution of government, once changed from freedom, can never be restored. Liberty, once lost, is lost forever." Let's think about what the recent news regarding the NSA's unwarranted surveillance of U.S. citizens really means, and maybe that'll make it sink in a little bit more. Nobody believes President Obama is going to become a dictator tomorrow. But if that's the only danger you see when you think about why this is a dangerous path that we are headed down, then you're not thinking hard enough. Privacy is rarely lost in one fell swoop. Rather, it is eroded over time, little by little, until one day you wake up and realize just how much of it is gone. President Obama is building upon the established surveillance state of his immediate predecessor and is setting the stage for the next U.S. president to continue and expand upon these very policies. And what happens with these future leaders? What happens when, inevitably, these programs fail to keep us 100% safe and another terrorist attack occurs? Will the government then continue these programs, advance them forward? Will they say they are now actively collecting and analyzing every form of U.S. citizen communication and acting on all suspicious interactions, regardless of the context or origin? Think about this. Is it hard to imagine a future president addressing the nation with this following statement? In 2013, we were storing vast amounts of communications data, including the metadata of millions of Americans' phone calls as a way of fighting terrorism. This collection was a transparent and perfectly legal process. Now, ignore the fact that the so-called transparent system is run by the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, which is operated in total secrecy and interprets the law of the land in its own special